Am I the only one that didn't know these history myths? Welcome to our channel. Today we're embarking on a quest to uncover the truth behind some of the most persistent myths in history. You see, history is not just a collection of dusty old facts. It's a tapestry woven from interpretations, assumptions, and sometimes outright fabrications. Just like in the vast expanse of space where things aren't always as they appear, historical narratives can be distorted over time. Our mission, should you choose to accept it, is to separate fact from fiction, to boldly go where historians have feared to tread, and to debunk some of the most pervasive historical myths that have taken root in our collective consciousness. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Let's dive in. The pyramids of ancient Egypt, those colossal testaments to human ingenuity, were not built by an army of toiling slaves. It's a common misconception, often perpetuated by Hollywood, but one that crumbles under the weight of archaeological evidence. The real builders were skilled laborers, craftsmen who dedicated their lives to these monumental projects. Evidence suggests they lived in well-organized communities, received regular rations of food and beer, and even had access to medical care. These were not the hallmarks of an enslaved workforce, but rather a testament to the respect and value these workers commanded. The pyramids, you see, are not just monuments to the pharaohs, but also a testament to the skill and organization of the Egyptian people. Thomas Edison, the iconic inventor, is often credited with inventing the light bulb. And while Edison played a crucial role in developing a commercially viable and practical incandescent bulb, he wasn't the first to have the bright idea. Decades before Edison's bulb illuminated homes, inventors like Humphrey Davy and Joseph Swan were already experimenting with electric light. Davy, in the early 1800s, created the first electric arc lamp, demonstrating the principle of electric illumination. Swan, in England, developed an early incandescent bulb that, while functional, suffered from a short lifespan. Edison's genius lay in perfecting these earlier designs, finding a filament that could burn for hours, and creating a system for distributing electricity. Cleopatra, the name conjures up images of an Egyptian queen, the epitome of ancient Egyptian royalty. But here's the twist. Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt, wasn't ethnically Egyptian. She was of Macedonian Greek descent, a descendant of Ptolemy I Soter, one of Alexander the Great's generals. After Alexander's death, Ptolemy established a dynasty that ruled Egypt for centuries. While Cleopatra embraced Egyptian culture and traditions, even portraying herself as the reincarnation of the goddess Isis, her lineage highlights the complex interplay of cultures in the ancient world. Chapter 4. Debunking the medieval myth life expectancy in the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages, often portrayed as a brutal and short-lived era, suffers from a common misconception that people only lived to the ripe old age of 30. While it's true that life expectancy in the Middle Ages was significantly lower than today, the statistic is skewed by tragically high infant and child mortality rates. If you survived the perils of childhood diseases, you had a decent chance of reaching your 50s or even 60s. Factors like famine, disease outbreaks, and warfare did impact life expectancy, but it's essential to remember that people lived full lives, formed families, and contributed to their communities just like we do today. Chapter 5. The Trojan Horse Myth, Metaphor, or Military Masterpiece. The Trojan Horse, a tale of cunning strategy and ultimate victory, is a cornerstone of Greek mythology. But was there ever a real giant wooden horse that wheeled its way into the heart of Troy? The historical evidence is, well, non-existent. Ancient texts like Homer's Iliad, while describing the events surrounding the Trojan War, don't provide a detailed description of the horse's construction or even confirm its existence. Scholars believe the Trojan horse might be a metaphor, a literary device representing a siege tactic, a secret weapon, or perhaps a battering ram disguised to resemble a horse. Chapter 6. Knights in shining armor. Separating fact from chivalry. Medieval knights, often romanticized as paragons of chivalry, courage, and courtly love, were, in reality, a more complex and nuanced group. While some knights adhered to chivalric codes, many were professional warriors, mercenaries who fought for the highest bidder. Their motivations often revolved around personal gain, land and power, rather than solely defending the helpless. The romanticized image of the knight, the gallant defender of damsels in distress, emerged later during the Renaissance, when nostalgia for a bygone era took hold. Benjamin Franklin, founding father, inventor, and yes, kite enthusiast, is often credited with discovering electricity with his famous kite experiment. However, electricity as a phenomenon was already known before Franklin took to the skies. What Franklin did was demonstrate the connection between lightning and electricity. His experiment, conducted during a thunderstorm, showed that lightning was a discharge of static electricity similar to the sparks he could generate in his lab. Franklin's experiment was groundbreaking not for discovering electricity but for understanding its nature and behavior. Chapter 8. The European Witch Hunts. Myths and misconceptions. The European witch hunts, a dark chapter in history, are often associated with images of women burned at the stake. While burning was a method of execution in some cases, particularly in Germany, it wasn't the only or even the most common method. In many parts of Europe, accused witches were more often hanged. The methods of execution varied depending on local laws, customs, and the severity of the accusations. The witch hunts themselves, fueled by fear, superstition, and religious fervor, resulted in the persecution and deaths of tens of thousands of individuals, primarily women, who were often scapegoats for societal anxieties or victims of personal vendettas. Chapter 9. The assassination of Julius Caesar, more than just tyranny. Julius Caesar, the legendary Roman general and statesman, met his end on the Ides of March, stabbed to death by a group of senators. While Caesar's assassination is often attributed to his supposed tyranny, the truth is far more nuanced. Rome at the time was a republic, and Caesar's growing power and influence, his accumulation of titles and honors, alarmed many in the Senate. They feared he was becoming too powerful, that he aspired to become king, a title anathema to the ideals of the republic. Caesar's assassination was a culmination of political intrigue, personal rivalries, and a clash between those who sought to preserve the republic and those who believed Rome needed a strong singular leader. Chapter 10. The Black Death, a pandemic of fleas, rats, and more. The Black Death, a devastating pandemic that swept through Europe and Asia in the 14th century, wiping out a third of the population, is often solely attributed to rats and their fleas. While it's true that fleas carried the deadly bacterium Yersinia pestis and rats helped spread the disease, recent studies suggest a more complex picture. The Black Death, it seems, was not just a case of bad rodent control. Human-to-human transmission through airborne particles and direct contact likely played a significant role. Overcrowding, poor sanitation, and malnutrition exacerbated the spread, creating a perfect storm for the pandemic to thrive. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating historical insights. Hit the bell icon to stay updated. Remember, history is not just a collection of dusty dates and names. It's a living, breathing tapestry of human experiences, full of twists, turns, and surprises. So the next time you encounter a historical fact, don't be afraid to question it, to dig deeper, to explore the evidence. You never know what fascinating truths you might uncover. Comment below on the next myth you want us to debunk. See you next time.